Well, start to record now. Okay, let's start for today. I want to introduce Marie Plaisir. She's my friend. I was at her building there, really beautiful, some years ago, and we worked together in some projects. Some still is waiting for payment, and another without success at the end of the call. But we enjoy very much to work together.
Yeah. I
So,
had the huge pleasure to have a research stay with you in Cordoba
mhm,
for
yes,
2 or 3 weeks. That was
yes.
fantastic. So I already spent some weeks in Cordoba at your place.
Hmm.
That was very nice.
She was at home, and we enjoyed very much with a group of work at that time. Yeah. So, can you present yourself, please?
Yes, of
Your
course.
career, your excellent. I'm going to take my mate, of course, Marie.
Yes, please. I have my German sparkling water here.
I'm
Thank you very
listening.
much, Carla. So, thank you very much for the invitation and for having me today. My name is Marie Plaisir, as Carla already mentioned, and I'm working at the Fraunhofer Institute for Energy Economics and Energy System Technology. And currently, I'm in this building and I am sitting in this office. So, you know where I am at the moment. Um, I would like to have a short presentation to give you a brief overview on our green hydrogen and power to X activities that we have at the Institute. And first of all, I would like to introduce myself a little more in depth. So my name is Marie Plaisir. I have a background in industrial engineering and I did my master's in renewable energies and energy efficiency. And that's when I joined the Fraunhofer Institute in 2018. So I started with my master thesis here. And since then, things developed. My research focus is on international power to X projects. I will, in a second, I will show you a history of project development and where I joined. And at the very beginning, we had a lot of activities in Argentina. My main topics in the research are techno-economic assessments and analysis, and that's on Power to X products and projects. I do strategic project development in our team. We are having a very strong focus on sustainability of green hydrogen and Power to X products. That comes along with regulation and certification criteria. And since 2023, I'm also a certified scientific trainer responsible in our team for everything that has to do with training and activities considering knowledge transfer. This is what I brought for today. So at the beginning, I will briefly end with an initial discussion together with you. What is green hydrogen? And I would like to get to know whether some of you already had um, connections or information, um, any kind of connection to green hydrogen and power to X. After that, I will go through our research activities considering hydrogen at the IEE. And then I have some selected project references, methodologies, and results. The Fraunhofer Gesellschaft, it is a very German term. It is, maybe you can translate it with Fraunhofer Association. It is the largest association for applied research in Europe. We are more than 30,000 people working here, and there are 75 institutes all over Germany, as you can see on the right-hand side. We have a business volume of 3.6 billion euro, and this budget, 30% of it comes from Germany's federal as well as state governments. And the rest, the main share of our budget comes from industrial contracts and publicly funded research projects, but that's a competitive approach. So we need to write applications for those budgets. I am located here in the center of Germany. I'm working from Kassel. And the Fraunhofer Association has an international network. So we are not only focused on Germany. There are 8 independent international Fraunhofer companies, affiliates. One of them, for example, the Center for Solar Energy Technology in Santiago de Chile. There are activities with partners in approximately 80 countries all over the Fraunhofer Association, and additional representative offices and senior advisors all around the world, where we can try to access markets and other countries. When it comes to the Fraunhofer Institute that I am working at, we are 100% dealing with the energy transition, but we are having a lot of different angles and perspectives on the energy transition. So there are 7 different research fields. Colleagues of mine are dealing with energy informatics and data processing, AI, stuff like that. Other colleagues are dealing with energy meteorology and renewable resources. So they, for example, can predict how much renewable energy is to be expected in the coming hours or days, so that the grid operators are able to manage their grids according to the availability of renewables. Energy economics and system analysis deals with long-term perspectives, how energy systems develop. I am dealing with the energy process engineering, or that's the division that I am with. So we are a lot more technology focused and not exactly dealing with the overall system, but on smaller scale or lower level with specific projects or with specific components within the hydrogen value chain. The main share of my colleagues are dealing with electricity grids. They do grid planning and grid operation, as well as grid stability and power converter technology. And for us, heating is definitely a huge topic, as we are facing -20 degrees sometimes during winter. So thermal energy technology is the 7th of the research fields that we are dealing with. Our campus in Kassel, so our new building looks like this. I have the view on the main station behind our building, so I'm sitting at the other side of the building currently. But we have 320 office workplaces, while we are 450 people, but we have very, very flexible opportunities to work from all over Germany. So a lot of my colleagues are mainly located in their home office. And we are also having a lot of seminar and workshop and project rooms. What you can see in the back behind the building here are several different labs. So we have a lab dealing with grid operation and planning. This one in the back here is dealing with medium voltage and hardware in the loop issues. This is our converter station where we are or the substation where we are connected to up to 6 megawatts of power that we can get from the grid to run our laboratories. Power electronics and inverter laboratory is in the main building in the back. We have a wind measuring network. The electrochemistry laboratory is connected to our division, as well as the renewable gas laboratory. We can, for example, characterize electrolysis cells and stacks and do so for batteries since decades. So there is a very developed model, for example, to predict degradation and aging effects. And a very new lab that we are still not building but commissioning at the moment is our district lab, where we have heat network laboratory, where we can connect a lot of components like heat pumps or different types of pipes and run tests with them for the manufacturers. On the next slide, and it would be lovely if you could just very shortly switch on your camera so that I can see you maybe for a second to have a very short discussion on who of you already had any connection to green hydrogen or Power to X?
Prendan las cámaras, así los ven y charlamos sobre esto, sobre qué sensación tenemos de hidrógeno. ¿Alguna idea? Pero quiere verles las caras.
Okay, maybe we can do it with a virtual hand that we can raise.
Okay.
Who of you
Levanten la manito.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Who of you would say that he or she knows what green hydrogen is and how it is produced?
¿Qué es el hidrógeno verde y cómo se produce? Levanten la mano. ¿Quién sabe? Todos deberían levantar la mano.
Nobody.
No.
Okay, so no problem. I will guide you through. So the basis of
Sorry.
green
You're
hydrogen.
very shy.
Yes, it doesn't matter. It's okay. The basis, of course, the beginning, the starting point for green hydrogen is renewable electricity. So we need renewable electricity like wind or PV. And to convert that into hydrogen, we need to transport the electricity from the renewable plant to the electrolysis. So electricity transport is often involved when we deal with green hydrogen projects. The heart of every green hydrogen project is the electrolyzer itself, where we split water with electricity. And what comes out of it is green hydrogen, and that can be used directly, for example, in industry, for steel production. We can use it in heavy duty vehicles. There are trains already running, for example, in Germany on hydrogen. So they are substituting the diesel trains. There are some ferries and ships running on pure hydrogen. And in the long term, it could be an opportunity to store electricity seasonally. So not for hours, but for longer periods like weeks or months. But that's not the whole story. The even more relevant aspect of green hydrogen and power to X is to make derivatives, is what we call it, out of them. So we would use the green hydrogen together with nitrogen or CO2, put it into a synthesis, and then we can produce hydrogen derivatives. And
Mhm.
that can be, for example, ammonia, that can be methanol, that can be e-fuels like kerosene or diesel or gasoline. There are a lot of, it could also be the feedstock, the raw material that the chemical industry needs. Naphtha, it is called, but we need to substitute all the different fossil energy carriers that we are using at the moment. And if we want to be 100% green, then also chemical industry needs molecules, the atoms. It's not the
Mhm.
energy content in the oil or in the gas that we need to substitute, but the atoms, the molecules themselves. Questions so far?
No, so only next week, next class, we are going to have an expert from Uruguay. She's a specialist in electrolyzers. So she will be really focused on the different types of electrolyzers. No.
That sounds fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so our history in green hydrogen projects, we started in the
Ooh.
very early 2000s, where we did PEM fuel cell development. We were partners when the Hessian, so that is the region that we are from or that we are living in, when they started an hydrogen and fuel cell initiative at the very beginning. So it's a very long history. There has been a village electrification system in 2008 where the hydrogen system balanced electricity production from wind and PV without a grid connection to the public grid. So there are a lot of crazy things in the very long ago past that happened that I was not aware of when I started. But when I joined, as you can see, the hydrogen and power to X activities, they grew, and that is our main topic that we are dealing with in a team of 5 researchers at the moment. And it is a very wide range of topics considering hydrogen and power to X that we are dealing with. Most of them are internationally. A lot of them are dealing with training and capacity building measures. We are doing a lot of studies for project developers, how to design Power to X projects. We are writing or supporting national hydrogen committees in defining their national strategies or R&D roadmaps. There are very many angles. So a lot of deep knowledge, broad partner network, and a lot of experience, long-term experience. On a map that looks like this, so as you can see, there are several projects in Latin America. As I said, we started in Argentina. That was really the most relevant international country that we were working with. Currently, we are having projects in Uruguay. Diana is in Quito at the moment. She spent 3 months in Colombia this year already for a research stay. We had this very large project in Chile called Power to Metme. So Latin America is definitely one of the 3 focus regions that we have. The other one is the
Sorry,
MENA
stop,
region. Yes,
stop. Did you start it already to learn Spanish or not?
me?
Yeah.
I am fluent in Spanish, as you know. No, that's why we have Diana. She is a native speaker in Spanish, and she is mainly coordinating the Spanish tasks.
Diana is a colleague of Marie. Ella es oriunda de Colombia, originaria de Colombia, así que ella habla español por todo el grupo.
Yeah.
Ok.
So my Spanish is sleeping at the moment. Entiendo poco y hablo poquito.
Muy bien.
Gracias.
Y-
Okay. So the second region that we focus on is the MENA region, mainly Northern Africa. And the third one is where we are currently most active, I guess, is South Africa and Namibia. I have the privilege to travel there twice a year at the moment. So Namibia is really such a lovely country. I can recommend that one.
Oh.
And as I said, there are very, very many different perspectives and angles on this topic. There are market and system considerations. How does the Power to X market develop globally, in Europe, within Germany? Which infrastructure is necessary for the market ramp up? What are market prices expected to become in the future? Where should the products be produced? Which industries have a demand for which of the products? So there are a lot of those high-level market and system considerations that we do. Site assessment is a lot more specific and project related. Often it is feasibility study or site assessment studies where we analyze the renewable resources, the water supply, whether there is a power grid connection. And we develop a concept, but we can also prove concepts or do due diligence processes for already planned projects. That's often GIS based and is a multi-criteria assessment. I will go a little bit into more detail on the techno-economic analysis on the next slides. We developed a model that really optimizes the configuration of Power to X projects, dealing with which capacities of wind and PV in which combination are most valuable or are leading to the lowest production cost for hydrogen or ammonia or methanol or any of the other derivatives. Scientific and technical consulting for project development. For example, are we having a research collaboration with the German Federal State Bank? They are funding projects abroad with grant funds coming from the German government. And as they need to make sure that this taxpayers' money is spent according to the rules and according to what the government plans to implement, they need support in the development of projects or in checking the circumstances on how the projects are developed. For
and the
example,
money, and the
yes,
money in those cases, the people has to pay back
no.
later, or is
In okay, so there are very few grant funds. That means the money is a gift. They
okay.
give it to the partner country to build a
like
hydrogen
like the
production
IKI
facility.
calls, for example.
No, the KfW Development Bank is connected with the Ministry for International Collaboration, and they have a list of countries that they collaborate with. It's the developing countries mainly.
Mhm.
So they give money to the countries that the ministry says are relevant. And sometimes it is a grant. Sometimes they use the money that the government spends to reduce the interest rate that the
Mhm.
receiving country needs to pay the money back, but the interest rate is a lot lower than market conditions. Um, but most of the time, that's the approach. So really, money that you do not need to pay back at all is rare,
Mhm. Mhm.
but it exists.
Well, I will check. Maybe with the
Me too.
student. Yeah. Maybe we can develop some project with the students here.
Unfortunately, Argentina is not on the list of developing
No,
countries.
come on. I
You
need to
need
be
to move,
poor
Carla.
then,
To
as a
receive money
country.
from the German government, you would need to move.
Oh, huh.
Nah, sorry. Okay. There are a lot of aspects dealing with sustainability and certification around hydrogen. There are very different regulations in place. Diana has the best overview. So there are very aggressive regulations in Japan, in Korea, in UK, and of course in Europe, as they will be importers of those products in the future. And Europe has the most strict rules when it comes to the sustainability of the products. How do they differ? Well, for example, in Europe, we need to install new additional renewable capacities to really consider the hydrogen green. They need to match in each and every hour. So we are only allowed to consume the electricity in the electrolysis that is produced within the same hour from the renewables. And as you know, they are fluctuating producing. So it
Mhm.
is a lot of varieties and fluctuations coming with renewables. And they need to be managed. And you could also allow balancing over a month. So that would be a lot easier and cheaper to produce the hydrogen, but it adds more pressure to the electricity grids. Because in those moments when there is a lot of electricity available, the electrolysis does not consume it. But during night, for example, when PV does not generate electricity, the electrolysis consumes what has been produced throughout the day. So there are a lot of different aspects on these sustainability criteria. We do academic training. That's my baby. It is
Mhm.
called Hit to Expert. And what we try to do is to really design customized programs tailored to the demands of our customers, of the region, of the specific industry, or the ministry. So we had a lot of trainings already. And it should be hands-on training. We often develop methods and tools for our customers so that they can really use the knowledge and not only have a presentation on PowerPoint.
Some of the slides that I have for today are coming from Fraunhofer, but the
ISE, right? ISE?
yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. We also develop facilities as well as components. That's the more technological oriented research aspect. So membranes, for example, for reactors that are synthesizing methane, methanation processes, power to gas. Our colleagues on power electronics are dealing with very many aspects of rectifiers and stuff like that. They are, of course, those technology exist, but they are optimized towards PV. And now having another technology that needs those components, there is still a fraction of potential to optimize them. Okay, I'm running out of time already. This
Don't
is where we
worry.
started. We started in the Rio Negro province. We did a study that was analyzing different sites, comparing them in, I don't know, 70 something scenarios. We calculated a lot. We did that time series based. So what you can see here, I'm sorry, the graph is the words are German, but I will guide you through. So there are the orange lines, that is the PV. You see the peak during day and the no production during nighttime. The blue curve is the wind, and both in combination is what the electrolyzer can consume. And we compared very, very many different sites and different capacities of the project, because the scaling of, so of course, cost gets down specifically if the plant is larger. So there are a lot of aspects that need to be considered. And that is what we did. And well, at the end, there was a Power to X project concept ready to be further developed in pre-FEED or FEED studies. The next project is called Power to Medme. That was a project that ended end of last year. My colleague Ramona was leading this very large project where 7 Fraunhofer institutes have been involved, including the Chilean colleagues, of course. It had a budget of more than 11 million euros, and they were mainly dealing with methanol. METME means methanol to DME, and that is dimethyl ether, which is another product that you can produce from methanol. Well, there was a long-term ramp up and scaling um, analysis that they did. They analyzed mainly PV and CSP as electricity sources, but as you know, the very south is also strong in wind. Um, but they have very, very large issues with their electricity grid, because actually it's full, and it would need to be extended in order to implement grid-connected electrolysis in Chile. So the focus was more on the northern part of the country and more on the PV and CSP. I did a training at a university with very different people, many academics, but also project engineers, as well as local industry and interested people from politics have also joined. Another project from the same funding call is the High Secunda project. That is located in South Africa and Namibia, so that's dealing with the SADC region. We have a budget of 15 million euro, and that's going to come to an end by the end of this year. We are dealing with 3 research pillars called blocks in this graph. It is capacity building, it is certification and market development, and technology development is also part of the project. That is a Fraunhofer only research project, which is very, very rare. We do not have this often, and there are 9 Fraunhofer institutes involved. One of the results that we generated from this project is a Joule paper that is called Sustainability Regulations for Power-to-X Projects, Scope and Impact Analysis. So we summarized and assessed current regulations all over the globe. We identified and characterized key regulations relevant to sustainability. We compared those requirements in very, very detail. And then there was an impact assessment. We discussed the significant impacts of the regulation on the Power-to-X concepts. That's open source. You could find it online. The
Okay.
same applies. Sorry?
Do you have the link?
I will give it to you afterwards. So
Okay.
here I have the QR code. This
Yeah.
one is accessible via the QR code if you wish. That was another just very recently published document. It is a white paper, so not published in any journal, but on the Fraunhofer internal publication website. We did a qualitative assessment of sustainability requirements and cost dynamics for exports from the SADC region. So this one is focused on SADC, but not. Okay, I will show you the structure. It's fundamentals of Power-to-X certifications, dealing with legal frameworks, regulation, certification schemes, as well as market incentives. They come with their own rules as well. And all of them are having Power-to-X sustainability criteria. And they differ for different import regions. And each of them has an impact on the plant configuration and cost. The main takeaway is that a project developer, for example, in South Africa, needs to decide which market he wants to supply before writing a concept, because the whole plant looks differently depending on where the project should be sold to. The next slide is on a project in Uruguay that was led by Diana as well. It was a rather small project, but together with the UDELAR, she developed an R&D roadmap for green hydrogen and Power-to-X in Uruguay. And that was, well, a lot of work on existing structures, stakeholders, R&D activities, and recommendations for implementation were the main result out of that. And based on that one, she developed another project that's ongoing. It's called Empower, focusing on e-methanol again, because Uruguay has a unique selling point, and that's CO2 availability coming from biogenic sources. That's very rare, but they have a lot of paper industry, and that CO2 is eligible in Europe, for example. So that would be allowed to call it green. And again, it is a cooperation between the UDELAR and ourselves, and yeah, dealing um,
With Jorge
production
still?
capacity. Sorry?
With Jorge still working on that on this
Um,
project? No.
yes,
Uh-huh.
as far as I know, yes.
Okay. The next the next class we will have this expert in electrolyzer is also from UDELAR,
Who is it?
Universidad de la Vero Díaz, Verónica Díaz.
I think I don't know her.
No.
No.
También de la Universidad de la República.
Mhm.
¿Mm?
Okay. One last project example. Um, we are not only dealing with hydrogen production, but also analyzing analysis on where the hydrogen could be consumed most efficiently. Hydrogen can be used for cars, for example, but electrification of cars, of individual traffic does not make sense. So where is it really needed and where is it used in a efficient way? That's mainly basic chemicals production. As I said, that's feedstock. That's the raw material that the industry needs. It's not the energy. The same applies to steel. Usually, or today, we are using coal, and that the carbon atom takes the oxygen from the iron ore, and we have the iron. But this process can also be done by hydrogen, and when
Mhm.
hydrogen consumes the O, then we have water instead of CO2. Um,
Mhm.
so green steel is definitely one of the most efficient off-takers. There are a few more industries that need the hydrogen as a molecule. For example, refineries need it. I hope that we do not need refineries anymore in the future, but at the moment we still have the demand, and a lot of processes that are having really high temperatures, they will also be hard to electrify in the future. So maybe hydrogen is an opportunity for that one as well. And we mapped it for Germany, for a partner that is a network of very many Carla, what is Stadtwerke? Like
Um,
suppliers, the local supplier with
mhm.
electricity, water, and gas in our case.
Mhm. Perfect.
Municipal.
Your translation was perfect.
Okay, we have tools on system level, for example, the Global Power-to-X Atlas. This is GIS based. It is fed with economic and technical data and renewable resources, and it calculates system optimization, resource assessment, and economic analysis. And the output can be used for investment decisions, for example, comparing different sites for hydrogen production. There can be, or the colleagues of mine are also doing in-depth country analysis. And as you can see, this is an example from Kenya. There are a lot of layers put over each other that have an impact on the suitability of an area, of a site for hydrogen and power-to-X production. Of course, the wind and the PV resources are most relevant when it comes to the cost impact. But of course, the distance to water and the level of water stress in a region also specifies whether an area is suitable. If we need workers on site, the distance to cities, for example, is another relevant aspect. And so they exclude and include different um, parameters or different
In layers?
yes, of course. At the end, it is layers, and what is suitable is shown on the right-hand side. That's not much, to be
Mhm.
honest. Um, but it is really very it has a very high resolution when it comes
Mhm.
to the suitability. Um,
Oh.
that one is online. It is the Kenya Power-to-X Atlas. The link is shown down here. And there is also a publication available on this assessment. This is what I already introduced at the very beginning, how we calculate and optimize specific projects, renewable electricity, and that site-specific time series that's fed into the tool, into the model. We can add the desired annual production, or we fix the size, the capacity of the electrolyzer, or we have an existing renewable park. So one of the parameters needs to be fixed. We need to give a lot of techno-economic parameters like capex and opex and technical restrictions like minimum part load, very relevant for synthesis
Mhm.
processes, and regulatory requirements if necessary. And what we get is an optimized system configuration, the Power-to-X production, also time series, again, levelized cost of the product, time series of production and utilization, and a cost breakdown. And these are the very many different components that are optimized. So wind and PV are optimized, battery storage capacity, electrolyzer power, hydrogen storage, fuel cell, if it
Everything,
is an off-grid system. Exactly, it is
everything, the whole
everything.
package.
Yeah, true, true. Yeah, and the optimization happens by minimizing the levelized cost of the respective product.
Mhm.
When it comes to training, we did training with policymakers, with project developers, with technicians, with industry companies, very different focuses. So we also had a um, offshore people that were interested in how offshore wind can be used for hydrogen production. And there are a lot of different topics that we deal with. And as I said, what's important to me is that it's not only a presentation, but really hands-on knowledge, tools, and understanding of the interfaces of impact of different parameters and stuff like that. So a lot of work for the participants, but also a lot of fun for everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. These are my contact data. This is where you can follow the Institute. There is a newsletter. We are on LinkedIn, of course. Um, Thank you very much for your attention. And this would be where you would have the chance to ask questions.
I have one.
Yes, please.
Where are you coming back again to Argentina?
I would love to. I would love to. Um, I'm not free in that choice, unfortunately. I always need a project that finances my stay, but I would very much love to be with you once again. I miss Argentina.
What do you miss most?
You.
Ah, but also you tried criollos?
I miss criollos as well. Not
Yeah.
as much as I miss you, but
And you tried the Fernet also, of course. And
sure.
what else?
And the mate.
And the mate, yes. She has a mate, but I think it's still new without use.
No,
Really?
no.
Hey, that surprised me.
Okay.
Okay, I think they are very shy to talk in English with you. I already wrote them. Okay, you can ask, and I will translate. Yes, here we have a chat. She's a guest at the university. We have talent. We lack support. I don't know what's the meaning en español.
Es algo que se dice mucho entre los jóvenes, como que hay talento, falta apoyo, pero no sabía bien cómo traducirlo.
Ah, okay. She
Escuchando
said
un poco la conversación que estaban teniendo, no, antes, cuando ella explicaba, con los países que estaban trabajando, entendí que no estaban trabajando todavía con Argentina.
Ya trabajaron con Argentina, pero ahora perdimos el paquete, digamos, pero vamos a volver a recuperarlo. What she tried to say is that you have the skills, let's say, and we need at the university more skills in the way that the kids, the young people say now. So she had to explain me in Spanish, sorry. But that
Yeah.
was the idea. And also she said that you don't have projects in Argentina. I said, yes, we had, but not running right now. Also, at the beginning, we said we are waiting for payment. And really, we had a project together here at Cordova, and we done the project, and we are still waiting for years
Yep.
the payment. Yeah, we started the project in 2021, and 5 years later, we are still waiting for the payment. So I don't know. And that's why we are not trying to apply for other projects together, at least not in Argentina for the moment.
Yeah. Maybe we can do something in Uruguay or
Yeah,
Paraguay.
maybe Bolivia, we can go. No,
Yeah.
I don't know, but nothing in Argentina
Yeah, Argentina
for the
is
moment.
difficult for us, unfortunately.
Yeah, because also Maria and the team had another project here, but it's very complicated with the political issues, let's say, and it's not really, how to say, stable to develop a project for 5 years or I don't know, and they are changing the rules every 4 years, and so it's not easy to develop a project here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the very large issues is that we need to be paid in euro, and the inflation makes it so hard and so difficult to pay us
Mm-hmm.
a fixed
Mm-hmm.
amount in 1 year or two.
Yeah,
So
it's very
another
complicated.
aspect. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We do not have a bank account that deals with pesos.
No.
Lucky us,
Maybe.
maybe. But that also makes it difficult to
Mm-hmm.
have projects there.
Ok. ¿Hay alguien que quiere preguntar algo? Are you reading the chat,
Yes,
Marie?
yes, I do. I do.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much for the questions. Yes, definitely. When I started dealing with green hydrogen and power to X, it was mainly about energy transition, about the Paris Agreement. It was on net zero. That was the reason why we dealt with it. And at the moment, that changed. First, we did not receive any gas anymore when the Ukraine war started, when Russia attacked Ukraine. That was our first huge crisis where we were very depending on the Russian gas in Germany and Europe. So um, the focus or the reason why the green hydrogen is not yet dead is that energy transition does not matter anymore. Our government is not green at all. It does not have to do with climate protection, but with supply security, we would, or the German government would like to be less dependent on regions where those conflicts happen. So gas is one of the things, one of our main energy carriers, but of course also the oil-based products are getting rare. So a lot of people, we have summer at the moment. Many people want to fly into their holidays in a month during our break, the large summer holidays, and a lot of airlines are very much struggling with the cost for kerosene, and they are already canceling flights.
Oh, it's
So
incredible.
yeah,
Happening
and
in Europe.
it's Europe. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
crazy.
we are not perfect at all, not at all. But yes, that affects us. The buzzword at in those times is resilience, resilient energy system, resilient. So also Europe, the rest of Europe is scared to be attacked by Russians in some, not today, but that is a scenario that we are discussing. And of course, the more decentralized your energy system is, the less weak it is. So there are a lot of aspects dealing with supply security or um,
Yeah.
with issues, yeah, around that. But
And
I do not have oh, that's a lie. We have a project partner in Ukraine, but that
still
developed after the
working.
war started. Yeah, we are working with Ukrainians together, but that is on decentralizing the energy system. We are
Uh-huh.
supporting them in producing electricity and hydrogen from the electricity, very decentralized, very small plants, but very many of them isolated, not grid connected, so that they are as resilient as possible. But I do not have projects or partnerships in the region around Iraq. So that last conflict does not affect me. Even though colleagues who were trying to get to Eastern Asia were not able to fly because of the closure of the airports in Dubai and that region.
Wow.
So not
So
directly.
for the next project, we, the South Hemisphere, are the best partners in the future. We have no wars at all,
Yeah.
and we are rich in resources, and no, we are kind
Yes,
people.
of course. That's the best argument.
Mm. And we play very well the soccer, football, and we are now starting with the fever of the soccer championship now. So everything is about Argentina and the colors of the flag. Yeah.
Yeah, we are not into the championship at all. Too
No?
many political questions, and it is one of the very few times that the games are not in our day, but throughout our night. So very, very, very late at night because it is
Yeah.
not in Europe or in our time zone, and that's
Mm-hmm.
very rare. So a lot of Germans are not going to be into the championship this time, I
Mm-hmm.
guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably, yeah. Yeah. More questions to Marie? No? Okay, Marie, thank you for your time.
Thank you for the
I really,
invitation.
I really loved your presentation, and you are always so funny. Yeah, so I will invite you next year for sure. Maybe we can invite also Diana and
Yep,
Johan.
then the presentation would be in Spanish.
Yes. Yeah. So, chicos, díganle gracias a Marie y nos despedimos de ella.
Thank you very much. And hope to see you soon.
Yeah.
Bye, thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Okay. Can you send me she's gone already? Marie? Oh, yeah. Okay, I will ask. Le voy a pedir la presentación después. Chicos, estoy así como me ven y estoy re bien en estos momentos, pero no me da la voz para dar la clase ahora, aparte de la tos, así que lo que voy a hacer es grabarles, primero tratar de solucionar lo del test, pero si no lo puedo solucionar con la gente de la UB, vamos a correr la fecha, eso no será un problema. Y les voy a grabar la clase apenas pueda hablar una hora seguida, más o menos, ¿sí? Que espero que sea jueves o viernes, ya igual les aviso por el grupo. Y la clase que viene tenemos esta invitada uruguaya que es experta, es investigadora en electrólisis, tiene varios premios internacionales sobre el tema, también es muy, digamos, accesible, así como Marí para charlar, solo que en español. Así que sería muy importante que participen y digan a los chicos, a los compañeros que participen en la próxima clase, porque el meollo de todo lo que es esto, hidrógeno verde y Power to X, es justamente el electrolizador. Así que espero que participen en la próxima clase el próximo martes. Les grabo y les mando un mensaje. Apenas tenga grabada y subida la clase, igual de abajo ahora esta partecita y la subo a la V, ¿sí? ¿Alguna pregunta hasta acá?
Profe, yo tenía una consulta.
Sí.
El test ese que tenemos que hacer representa el 30% de un trabajo final. Ese trabajo final no pude estar en la clase pasada, así que no sabía si lo explicaron o cómo es. Y quería saber también si el parcial iba a ser 30 o si hay segundo
Sí.
parcial.
El segundo parcial va a ser el 30, la entrega del trabajo va a ser una semana después, para que no se les acumule con otras materias. La semana pasada me dijeron de que planificación también les pide un trabajo. Bueno, hablé con el profe y no podemos, digamos, sobre la fecha coordinar, pero vamos a ver para el próximo año si podemos armar una sola presentación para ambas materias. El trabajo final va a ser ponerles lo que usaron en DSO del año pasado, que todavía los chicos no, hay gente que no cursó el año pasado, quedaron en escribirme y no me escribieron. Usar lo que ya hicieron en DSO, los chicos de química, y agregarle algunas cuestiones sobre, es seguir el paso a paso del archivo del test. Así que les voy a hacer un instructivo más específico para que les quede, pero no, es una cosa fácil, fácil, fácil. Es solo como para que puedan hilar lo que ustedes estuvieron viendo, encadenando durante las materias y que ver cómo se puede generar un proyecto a partir de eso que además les sirva como la base para proyecto final, ¿sí? Esa es la idea, pero es muy, muy, muy sencillo. Se los voy a especificar y se los subo ahora el fin de también. ¿Sí?
Ah, bien.
Igual,
Muchas gracias, profe.
Igual está en la clase pasada, no me acuerdo si la subí a la clase, pero ahora me fijo si no la subo junto con esta de hoy.
Profe, una consulta barra pedido. ¿Será posible que divida un poco las clases cuando subo el video?
¿Son muy
Porque
largas?
son, sí, sí, yo las que he visto son como 2 o 3 horas y después para buscar un tema, algo dentro del video.
Bueno, ahora le voy a pedir a Héctor que me pase, mañana, que me cargue, él tiene un programa que divide videos, así que le voy a pedir que me lo ponga. En todo caso, espero hasta que él me cargue en la computadora eso y recién mañana a la noche o pasado les subo estas 2 clases últimas, ¿les parece?
Sí, puede ser, porque sí, acá estoy viendo porque son videos, más o menos son videos de 2 horas, ¿no?
Sí.
Y por ahí, digamos, lo interesante o el concepto no está son, no sé, 20 minutos, media hora,
Sí.
una cosa así. Por eso le digo,
Bueno, sí, sí, está perfecto. Mañana le digo eso, mañana no sé con qué voz, pero bueno, doy la charla sobre doble titulación a las 3 de la tarde en el aula
ah,
de,
es,
en el
tengo,
aula de quinto año va a ser al final. Así que, bueno, si no, va a estar seguramente Roberto también, así que la voz que me falte lo va a hablar él, pero vayan por ahí, si no, también va a estar online, creo.
bueno, sí.
Mm,
Bueno, gracias, profe.
Nada. Bueno, no, los que vayan mañana, los veo mañana y les aviso por el grupo apenas tenga cargadas las otras cositas, ¿saben? Nati, ¿estás por ahí? ¿Algo para agregar?
Acá estoy, ¿no? Presente. No,
Bueno,
que te recuperes, por favor.
y harta de toser.
No, pero es que la primera palabra que dijiste ya se te notó que está hecha rota.
No, 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 no. No, encima, ay, me pone más nerviosa.
Y sí, bueno, relájate y quédate tranquila.
Bueno, ahí les voy avisando por el grupo. Cualquier
Dale,
cosa. Nos vemos.
besos, nos vemos, chicos.
Chao, chao.
Thank you, profe.
Yo, profe, que se recupere.
Chao, practiquen inglés, chicos, por favor, practiquen inglés.